which means that they're legally, I mean, it's against the law, we have to remediate it. It's just the way Tosca works. One of those rooms, because we have a fifth room, did it in our wipe samples. So we have 5 of the original 10 rooms that violated Tosca, and that needs to be remediated. So that should be part of the Environ plan. And we'll let Kurt talk about whether or not it's in there. The other thing that she talked about was the parents' right to know law. I don't know if you guys know this, but it was funny because, you know, Christine and I had spoken, and I had talked to a bunch of the California agencies, and I thought, wow, is there really not a law that they have to tell parents what they find out about in schools? And the Department of California for Education said no. They looked. They called me back like every day, and we looked, and it's not there. And we were all like shocked because we're like, it should be there. So Malibu Unites has authored, I will say it's a draft, of a parent's right to know law. It is following Prop 65, which doesn't include public buildings, otherwise we would be protected. And it also follows OSHA. So there's OSHA laws that basically says that an employee and employer have a relationship, and an employer must tell an employee if they find hazardous materials at their school or at their workplace. So what we did is we followed those, and so we just added on to there that if a district, a school, anyone finds out or knows of or suspects any hazardous material that happens at their school, that they have to tell the parents within 72 hours via what's called a communications program. It's the same exact thing that's written in OSHA and Prop 65. We're just including parents have a right to know what's going on with their kids' lives. And so I hope that you guys will support it. We've got a lot of our city council here, and it's more than just, yeah, thank you guys for coming. That's so amazing. Congratulations to the team for getting reelected. And I think that is really important. I mean, it's something that maybe we can look at in Malibu, we can adopt here, and we can show, you know, the state of California that this is where things should be. We could be a model for it. I have talked to, you know, Senator Boxer about it. I have brought this up to Senator Pavley, and also Waxman, I think I sent it to as well. So they've gotten some traction. Marianne Williamson is all about this. She thinks it's fantastic, talking about it on her campaign trail. I think it's something that we can do here in Malibu, and we can protect kids across the state and possibly across America. So I think it's something that we can all get behind. And we would love your help, you guys. So if you can help us with that, that'd be great. Our next speaker is Dr. Brautbar. He's quite amazing. He is an internationally recognized medical doctor as well as a toxicologist, along with a silly amount of other things behind his belt that I can't even pronounce. He is a professor at USC, and he is here to speak to us, and we're so lucky to have him, to talk about the health-toxin connection. This is what he's been doing for over 40 years. Nobody knows this stuff like he does. And we are very lucky to hear what he has to say about how this is affecting our body. This is the type of questions that we've all been talking about since October. What are these toxins doing to us? Toxicants, excuse me. Okay, by the way, just so you guys know what a toxicant is, because I'm now writing it, I have been schooled by our expert, Kurt Feeling, that a toxicant, if I say this correctly, a toxin is actually a like snake venom. So a toxicant is a man-made toxin. Is that right? Chemical. Yes. He'll tell us about it, but just in case I use the word toxicant, that's where I got it from. So if I use the word toxin, I'm incorrect. Unless we're talking about snake venom, which we are not.
Thank you all. Very distinguished panel. I understand city council members. What I'm here I was asked to cover and discuss with you the medical psychological issues that are related to your school in this case. And he heard a lot about PCBs, which I fully agree with. And recently, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, which is a very well-established scientific organization.
We're really close to it. I know.
How close like this?
Yeah. Don't eat it.
Okay. And the international agency has classified several of the PCBs that, by the way, were found in this case as human carcinogen, which is class 1. There's no question about them being carcinogenic. Carcinogenic meaning causing cancer or promoting cancer. Now, that's very important to think about the promotion of cancer. Because, what I understand, soil was examined in one location and was found to have other chemicals which are toxic and carcinogenic. Now, that's a very important point to take together with the PCBs, because what you have here, you have an additive effect of the other toxic chemicals and the PCBs, which makes it, in my opinion, much more risky, if we want to talk about risk, or much more to practice the precautionary principle, which I'll talk in a minute. Let me go back to the co-carcinogenicity and the co-toxicity. Co means that the two agents or three agents work together and increase. It's additive. Instead of 1 in 1,000, it becomes 3 or 4 in 1,000 as far as the risk. And that's very important to remember in this case. And I understand the soil was tested only in one location. It wasn't tested around the campus. I think that's very important to examine, especially in light of the fact that both PCBs and some of the chemicals which were found in the soil are cumulative. What does it mean, cumulative? They are accumulating in human body. PCBs, for instance, accumulate in the fatty tissue of the body. I'm not talking about just fat, like myself. But fatty tissue, the brain contains, is a fatty tissue. The liver, considered, because it has some fat in it, fatty tissue. So PCBs go into the fatty tissue, and the life of residence in the body, in other words, kind of reside in your body many, many years. Now, taken together with the other chemicals that I heard about, like lead, I'm not sure as far as how many were found, but lead residence in your body is 40 years. Lead goes into the bone. Lead is not cancer-causing yet. It hasn't been yet accepted, but it is a toxic agent which affects the brain, especially in young children. And I understand that you have 6-year-old children around here potentially exposed to lead, and that's when the brain develops at this age. And it has far long and chronic effects on the brain of children when they develop. In adults, it will affect kidney, high blood pressure, nervous system. Most importantly, also to remember, is the teachers, which are here many years, with the cumulative effect of these toxins, as well as when they are pregnant. Like extremely high risk, more than anything else, to transfer to the embryo, baby, some of these side effects of these toxic agents. So, pictured together is not just the PCB, in my opinion, in the air or in the coating material, but I think it's the combination of PCBs and soil and other toxic chemicals. And I understand that has not been a plan, or at least that's not on the plan, to test the soil in the various locations. And as we know, children like to play in soil. It's just what children do. And that's the major pathway of being exposed to these toxic chemicals. Dust and air and ingestion. They don't clean their hands, they play with the soil, you ingest it. I will be happy to answer questions later. I think we're running tight on time. The other point that I was asked to address is the precautionary principle. And I believe it was mentioned here, and that's a very important issue to remember. It's a scientific approach. It's not just someone invents something and wants it to be applied. What does it mean? It means that if there is evidence from either experimental animals or some studies from humans that a chemical is toxic, whether it's carcinogenic or toxic to the nervous system or toxic to the kidneys, you have to practice precaution, meaning until there are studies that show that this chemical doesn't cause cancer or brain disease or kidney disease, and you stay away from this. That's the precautionary principle, the scientific approach. Some scientists may not agree with that, but it has been published in the scientific literature, and the EPA also states in some of their publications that if there is doubt, practice caution. So I'm not critical of the EPA. I think the EPA does the best they can based on budget, and based on political issues as described here, and based on some geo-social issues. So the EPA is, I think, with you from a point of view of, in their publications at least, practice the precautionary principle. I think in light of the short time that we have, and I will just close here by saying that I see a very active community, a very united community, which, and I've worked with a lot of communities across the country, which makes the point that, you know, it's not one crazy person who says, you know what, I'm concerned, my child is exposed. You have here a community of people who are thinking, people who are almost doctors in PCBs and toxicology, and experts who actually experienced it on their own flesh, I would say, like was described before. So I think that's very important, and I think it's going to have weight on whatever you do, heavy weight. And do it fast. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brautbar. I think you guys all have a lot of questions for him later.